What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about this great GTA 6 price debate and kind of just have a conversation not only on the rumored price, what the price should be for GTA, but also, in my opinion, and what I really want to focus on, the impact it would have on the industry going forward. That, in a nutshell, is what I really care about, because it is more than just GTA. And I think that's kind of the first thing you have to talk about when you talk about, okay, well, could they raise the price? Could GTA 6 come out and realistically be more than, say, the average game? It's not just an answer to that, and we'll talk about it, but it's also, okay, well, whatever they do, no matter what they do, that will be adopted by the industry going forward. And to me, that is what scares me actually quite a bit about this situation. Now, look, there's a lot of clickbait that goes on. There's a lot of, like fake titles and all this kind of stuff. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not doing that. There's things actually that I had seen where, oh, did you see the rumor where like they would make you pay almost like episodically for GTA? Let me tell you something. That's not going to happen, okay? Now, could they raise the price? I do think there's a possibility there. I think they shouldn't, and we'll talk about it, but specifically when it comes to fake news and all these kind of clickbait garbage headlines, are they going to kind of put it out piecemeal to us and make you pay for each thing? No, okay? I mean, it will be split up in the sense that GTA 6, the story, and the open world, that'll drop, and then the online will drop after. I do think they're going to do that. So if that's what you mean, I guess yes. But if you think they're going to drop, like, the base game and they're going to split it into 5, and they're going to make you pay $50 for each of them, no, that's insane. That's insane. I also think the idea that they could charge $100, because I think there was a rumor for that the game would be $100. That I don't even want to tell you what I would say and do online, in person, if they were to do something like that, okay? I think that would be horrific, and I do think that's also more kind of clickbaity headlines. I don't read too much into that, but a more realistic thing, and I do think this would be realistic, could they still raise the base price? So games, most $70, right? You got your games for $70. There are some games that have kind of worked out ways to come out a little bit cheaper, Alan Wake and even Like a Dragon, and they use the excuse, which I don't love this, but they use the excuse that, well, hey, because we're not doing physical copies, right? We're kind of cutting out the middleman, at least a little, even though you're really not when you're releasing on storefronts. There is a middleman there, right? But okay, you're not releasing physically, you're releasing only digital, so you can shave $10 off, and that's what happened. Alan Wake, Like a Dragon, there's a couple games that have been able to get away positively in that way, I guess, with charging $10 less. But overwhelmingly, $60, you still see it here and there, but everybody's moving up. $70 is the new norm. And I don't think that's amazing. I mean, selfishly, of course, like, would I prefer to pay $60 versus $70 for games? Of course, I'll always choose $60. And yes, you'll always have your indie games. You'll always have games that are $20, $30. And, you play around. It's a playground, and you mess around with it, right? There's some good and there's some bad. Now, I'm going to kind of come back to that part of the raising prices because there's a point to be made that I will hopefully try to remember as we go forward. But, okay, when it comes to GTA, can they get away with charging $80? And I actually saw some people saying, their prediction is $80. $80 for this game. Could it get to $100? Again, I think that is kind of blowing it out of proportion. I can't imagine them going that high. But could they do, say, 80, maybe even a little bit higher, 85? I think you would stick with, like, the 10s, right? So you had 60, you had 70, you would have 80, right? You're not going to do, like, 75 or 85. Oh, by the way, should throw this in. This is, like, U.S. I am fully aware, different countries, different places around the world, they all have their own conversions. I mean, a $60 game in Canada, I'm actually partially Canadian. My mom's from Canada. I'm a dual citizen. My cousins live there. I remember games being $60 and it would be like 72 or 75 to buy it there. So I'm only talking about U.S. But keeping in mind, if the prices go up for the U.S., they're raising the prices everywhere, right? So if a game right now costs you 80, where it cost me 70, well, would GTA then cost you 90 instead, right? So just to kind of keep those conversions in mind as we go along. The sad answer is yes. The sad answer is they could absolutely get away with it. And why? Well, it's the biggest thing of all time. That's kind of it. Like, you could actually end it there, and that would be an answer. There's actually not too much more to say. Can they get away with it? They sure as heck can. Why? Because people are going to buy it. And therein lies, I think, the potential issue and the scary future. Because here's the deal. You raise the price of GTA, you are not just doing it to GTA. You could say it. You could say, Alex, well, for our hypothetical, you'd only be raising the price for GTA. Let me show you this crystal ball that I have off screen over there. Truly, you would be changing the industry. Now, could all games get away with it? No. And this is the point I want to make actually with the, see, I can connect myself. I can get back there. The point is, a lot of games, don't want to say most, don't want to say minority, majority, but a good amount of games could not get away with a price jump, okay? So if GTA goes up to 80, I think that establishes the new norm in gaming, because you can't just say, well, what about if you categorize it? So open world games are now $80 versus action adventure games, your Assassin's Creeds, even though that's all, I guess that's also open world. Actually, that's kind of a problem right there, right? So games that are partially genre. But the point is, you can't just pick and choose. That's my point, without me stuttering and falling over myself. You can't say, well, if it's a third-person shooter, then that game can still be $70. We haven't tried it yet. We haven't attempted to see if people would pay $80 for that. So we have to keep it at $70. Oh, but open world games, we know GTA did it, so that's $80. So any game that's open world, that'll also be $80. It wouldn't be like that. This would impact the gaming industry. Some companies would take a little bit longer. You're seeing it. Capcom is actually one of the last companies to do it. They haven't done it yet. They're about to, right? So this is something that does take a little bit of time, but it doesn't take that much time. Within a year, everybody catches up, right? So you would be changing the industry. That's something to throw out there 1,000%. You'd be raising the price. Now, is it right to raise the price? Well, look. Prices are going up. Labor goes up. Costs to make these games go up. But I'm not for that at all, and I'm gonna explain why. We've talked about this here and there, but for new viewers and stuff, where I'm at with all of this is a lack of management. Maybe management is the right word. Sean Layden has warned about this. Other people have warned about it. I think you can still make games for cheaper, and here's how you do it. You stop inflating every single one of them, okay? You can say, well, Alex, games cost more and more to make. They continue to go up in price. That's true in a way. It's not true for everything, and it's only true if you want it to be true and if you live by those principles. And what do I mean by that? Well, why do games cost so much now? Let's talk about it for a second. Why do games cost so much? Takes longer than ever before to make a game, right? People's salary is higher than ever before, right? Now, inflation, all that. But, you pay somebody $100,000 a year. Well, even if you paid a person $100,000 a year, 10 years ago, which isn't true, but let's just kind of keep it the same. Well, if you made a game in 4 years back then versus 6 years now, you've paid that person $200,000 more. You multiply it by however many employees, and you have a pretty big problem. Problem in the sense that you've spent a whole lot more money. So I do believe game prices have gone up. Costs have gone up. Games need to make more money than ever before to be profitable. Now, the point I was actually making to the $70, could this work for everything? No. You want to know why? I would say Immortals of Avium is actually a really good example. Now, truth be told, and to full transparency, I haven't played that game, but I actually was really into it, interested, going in, leading into that game. I think that game actually looks kind of cool, and I will play it. There's been a lot of talks that game is going to be on PlayStation Plus and Game Pass, so I'm not going to spend money when the company itself says we're working out deals with them. But regardless, that game looks really good. It does. Now, it was a middling game. From the reviews, from the reception, it was a middling game. The game cost $70. $70, no subscription services to help it out in no contracts right with these companies. $70, EA original, new IP. My problem is you can't have creativity. Creativity dies. And that is something that, again, if you're a newer viewer, you probably haven't heard me say it yet, but if you've been around, that's something I've been talking about for a very long time. Sly Cooper, a franchise that I would do anything, I mean it, to get Sly Cooper back. Okay? But why don't we get Sly back? Well, in all reality, it's still expensive to make. You still need 4 or 5 years to make it. You might not need a team of 500, but you need probably 100, 150 folks, 3-4 years make a Sly Cooper game. That's a lot of money. That could be $100 million, $150 million. That game needs to sell pretty well to make the money back. And guess what? It probably can't do it. And now that's a very near and dear thing to my heart. That's one example. But there's thousands of examples. There's probably, not to exaggerate, hundreds of franchises that are being held back from kind of coming back or getting sequels. Maybe they deserve it. Alan Wake took freaking forever to get, right? These happen all the time. And why? Well, even if they don't take all that long, they still need to make so much money back. So what am I getting at? Well, Immortals of Aveum failed. Like, it lost them so much money. I think they had to fire 30-40% of their workforce. They're not going to be leading their own games anymore. The gaming industry is a one-and-done thing. You get one shot from time to, like, each time. You get one chance. If you blow it, you're done for good. There's no, like, there's redemption stories for the games themselves, but there often aren't for the companies. You don't get a chance to re-show yourself that you're capable in the gaming, because it's all driven by money, and money's tight. Even though the gaming industry is so profitable, money is tight. So again, what am I getting at? Well, games that are $70 now lack the innovation, lack the pushing of boundaries, because they can't, because you can't take risks. The gaming industry largely, except for in the indie scene, but that's different. Indies can do that. In the large AAA space, the creativity, the innovation, the true, and it happening all the time, is not there. Yeah, you get it from time to time. You do get the Alan Wakes that come out. And guess what? Alan Wake 2 doesn't do that well in terms of sales. GTA, yeah, that is boundary pushing. That will push the industry forward. But how many games can say that they do it? How many games can compete with GTA? Zero. Zero games can compete. So my point is, right now, we've had games go up in price, and I think that's hurt. Now, it's selfishly, like I've said, like, yeah, I don't want to spend $10 extra. Now, will I? Yeah, I'll put my money where my mouth is. If I really want to support a game, I'll buy it. But will the public? The answer is no. I mean, that's the short answer. The answer is no. We've seen that. And so that's my worry. My worry is, look, when a game is $60, that was already a lot of money. To the average person, this is an entertainment. This is something that, is not needed. You don't need, like, although my entire life really does revolve around games and I use it for escapism, you don't need games, just like you don't need movies, you don't need music. Now, they're very important to some people, but you don't need them. They are entertainment. They are extra things. And when you raise those prices, you are asking more from the person to support it. And already the gaming industry is in a situation where games always need to succeed. They always need to do better than what came before it, right? Battlefield, they always need to sell better than they did before. Even if they sell 8-9 million units, that is considered a failure from EA, because they expected 12, they expected 13. These are real things. This happens all the time. So my point is, $60 is already asking a lot. It's already a one-shot deal. You could either make it or you don't. Your game's going to fail, and you'll never see that game again. Rarely. I mean, that's a little exaggerating, but largely, yeah, franchises do get killed off and murdered or whatever if they don't perform well. All right. Well, let's raise it to 70 now. Well, you're already seeing that hurts. That is hurting products, okay? Now, you want to raise it more. So, the point of this video, like, yeah, it's GTA. We're talking about the price. But as I said in the beginning, it is much bigger than GTA itself. So, sorry for those that just came just for GTA and the impact there. But GTA leads the way. It leads the way with innovation in a good way. It leads the way with how open world games should act going. And I love that. And I think they do it well every time. GTA 5, Red Dead Redemption 2, these games push. These games, companies have to steal these ideas to implement it, and they all kind of grow together because of it, okay? There's a lot of good in there. And does GTA specifically deserve to maybe cost more because of how much money it takes to make that game? Maybe, and that's the tough thing. I've said before, Life is Strange, to give an example. Life is Strange was very cheap when it first came out. I would pay $100+ to play Life is Strange. I've said that. Yet again, when I think about it, like, okay, well, would I want them to charge $100? I think that's a little bit different. It's a little bit different to say, like, hey, like, what's the value? What's the worth? What's the worth? What is GTA 6 worth to you? It could be over $100. You could say, I'd pay over $100 for that game. Other games you might look at and say, I'd pay $20 for that. Immortals of Aveum, I'd pay $5. Oh, they're charging $70? I'd pay $30 for it. And that's fair. Everybody does that. Everybody's got their own worth for something. It is selfish. It's almost a selfish, and that's fine. Everybody actually in this way should be selfish. You should value your own money and decide on how much games cost. Like, is it worth it for me? That's the whole point. That's literally the whole point. Is the game worth the money to buy it for me? It is very selfish. But this discussion, what we're talking about with GTA raising the prices, it actually can't be selfish. You can't think about it selfishly. I can't think about it selfishly because it doesn't just impact us. It doesn't just impact the one game. It's not just asking you, well, would you pay $100 for GTA? That's fine. Everybody does that. You will do that when the game comes out. But it's not just about that game. It's about the future. That game will come out, and then everybody will copy it. And that is just a fact. So that game comes out, it's $80. Within a year, 80-90% of your AAA games will also be $80. And that's not just going to affect GTA. GTA will survive. GTA can get away with $80, make all its money back, be the biggest thing on literal planet Earth, and be fine. But can a new experimental game that would have been $60 3 years ago and now is $80, can that game make its money back? Probably not. Probably not, because games couldn't do it at 60. Games can't do it at 70, so why could games do it at 80? And again, like, you keep going back in circles. I'm going to wrap it up, like, right now. The final thing would be, okay, well, to complete that, repeat of a circle here, you could say, well, Alex, like, well, what do you want to do about it? Well, I said it earlier. Like, you have to look at how to make games. I think that's how you fix it. You got to go back to the drawing board. You got to pull a Sean Layden, all this stuff. And that's not me being, like, a PlayStation fanboy. I think Sean Layden was very, very smart and saw all this stuff coming. Very accurately, and like it's proven that he kind of saw it coming, right, in what he said. You have to go back to how you make games. Games can't be this long anymore. You gotta condense it. If a game that's open world, if it's trying to be 60 hours, make it 40. Focus on quality over quantity. Maybe that saves you a year of development. And you know what that would mean? Maybe that would save you money. Maybe now, instead of selling 5 million to break even, maybe now you have to sell 4 million. And guess what? That's easier to do. So there are ways around this. Companies don't do it. Why? Because it is literally an industry in the AAA space. Again, indies are completely different. This is not talking about that. In the AAA space, it's about being bigger and better. It's about inflating things. If the story is 15 hours, let's make it 18 hours. If the open world was 50 hours last time, let's make it 80 hours this time. It's always about getting bigger. And that's literally what Sean Layden, warned about. That is a recipe for disaster. You can't keep doing that. If you do keep doing it, the only way around it is to keep raising prices. But because of the economy, because of how much it costs to employ people, because of the costs of keeping these studios alive, all of these things that continue to go up, well, you're going to keep raising games every year. Well, you're going to raise games $10. So in 4 years from now, games are going to be 110, 120. Eventually, there is that breaking point. There's the point where the consumer says, no, we're done. And guess what? Selfishly, I think that's around 70. I don't know how many average Joes are going to go out and look at an experimental game at GameStop and say, oh, it's $80. I'm not getting it. I think 70 is probably that break-even point where if you go higher, if you start seeing $80 or $90 games, base games, not deluxe editions, base games are $80, $90, I don't think people buy it. And that's where the industry would literally, like a recession kind of thing where people just wouldn't buy the games anymore. Yes, is GTA going to do all of that? That's a lot to put on the game. But to be honest with you, it is the industry leader. So whatever it does, everybody follows. So in a way, it actually does have a lot of like the future of the industry on its back, which is probably not fair. It's actually not fair to like the developers or anything, but it does. It does. So much rests on GTA. So if GTA does go up to 80, well, get your wallets ready, because not only will you be spending 80 on that, but guess what? You want to buy 10 games a year? They're all going to be $80 now. And that's what's going to happen. So I hope it stays. I do get worried because I actually do think they'll raise the price, and GTA would be the game to do it. But, the impact it would have on the industry is, in my opinion, terrible, like really, really bad. And it would be even worse the more they raise it. That's why 80 is like the max. If they raise it to 90 or 100, I swear to God, like I'm going to do some unspeakable things here if that happens. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on. I've been doing a lot of these rants video. People have liked them, so I'm going to keep doing it when I feel, it's necessary. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.